Hey everybody, there's a great new way to support Echoplex Media. Head on over to eplex.store and you can sign up at the $5, $10, or $20 a month level. Works just like Patreon. You get all the same benefits our patrons get. Plus, you get a discount for items in our swag shop. And coming soon, we have members exclusive swag that you'll be able to pick up at a really low price. Enjoy the show.
The liberals, not the conservatives, are the one who pound.
See the same people every other day, but we never say hey, cause we're never looking the way, or my face was in my notebook, we passed each other, didn't look. But these are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, overlapping side by side, big small towns. I see new people every day. Everyone's on their way, doing the things that failed their day. And I'm going places too, doing the things that I do with my time. We are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, diagonal, top to bottom, big small towns. Be nice to the people of the towns, once in a while look around, cause what's going around's coming around. What came around's coming around. What's going around's coming around. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns.
Hey everybody, welcome to Downballot. We do the show live every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Support this project at patreon.com/Echoplex, or even better at eplex.store, like the councilman switched his support over to just this last week. We got a bunch of Pride merch. Most of the proceeds from that new Pride merch, the stuff with the Pride 2023 logo, most of the proceeds from that goes to the Lambda Legal Fund. Been doing the hard work for 50 plus years. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr.
And this is the Councilman. You can find me on Twitter, if Twitter is still there, at THE_Councilman, and also up in your favorite social media devices as Hansel Mon. You can also find me lurking and trying to get some eminent domain going in your backyard for my extra swimming pool, because I already have one. I think I need another one for sure. We were in California after
I need a second pool, and it's going to be in your backyard.
Exactly. And we're going to be talking about land use disputes a little later on between neighbors, so I think that's totally appropriate. Really hope you'll tune in later for Conspiracy Bingo, and make sure you tune in all weekend for Catter Day and and of course the big show on Sunday and all the fabulous broadcasting that producer Dave and others do on this wonderful network we call Echoplex. Thank you so much for having me. Let's get started.
Fuck yeah. So what do we got for leading off?
Something you had dropped in, and I found some video on. I'd been watching this on the news the past couple nights. Apparently there's crime in Oakland, and the whites are upset.
As is often the case.
Yes, so we'll learn more from NBC Bay Area.
Neighbors in Rockridge got together tonight to talk about tackling crime and safety. This after a shocking robbery that was caught on camera. Our Audrey Sistio is here with more on tonight's meeting and how quickly it got heated.
Jess, the Rockridge neighborhood has always been considered one of the safer areas in Oakland. But with that violent attack you mentioned and crime increasing, many say something needs to be done. It's a violent crime that has neighbors on edge in North Oakland. A 63-year-old woman attacked outside Market Hall in the Rockridge neighborhood last Sunday. Police say the attackers were part of a group of 9 teens and preteens busted for dozens of robberies.
Wow, I've never seen someone so immature.
Tonight, Oakland City leaders, police, residents, and business owners gathered at Oakland Tech to talk about the incident and a recent uptick in crime. The discussion quickly got heated.
It's the policy that you have done on the city council that has made us an unlivable city.
We're almost encouraging this type of behavior, and we're not doing the little things. All I hear about you guys talk about is, oh, we can't do this because of this limitation. We can't do that.
Adam Stemler owns Arthur Mack's Tap and Snack on MLK Jr. Way. He says his pizza shop has been broken into several times. His workers don't feel safe, and his customers get their cars broken into. He spoke directly to City Council member Dan Kolb tonight.
Dan, with all due respect, you ignore us. My business partner emails you all the time. It's not, hold on, dude. I'll let you speak. Now it's my turn to speak right now. You've said plenty today.
Kolb hosted the meeting along with the Oakland Police Department and Department of Violence Prevention.
People are rightfully concerned and have certain fears about it that I totally understand, and I share those concerns and frustrations.
There have been about a dozen robberies in the Rockridge neighborhood so far this year. In total, the city of Oakland has had more than 900 robberies this year, according to crimemapping.com. Nearly 60% involved a gun, about 30% were strong-arm robberies. So what's the answer?
The key is to hold them accountable, to hold these perpetrators accountable. That could involve various psychological testing, various programs they must be required to go through as a condition of probation or why they're temporarily incarcerated. All sorts of things can happen, but nothing can happen if you don't catch these people. And so we have to catch them, then give them appropriate consequences.
Residents say they're frustrated but still hopeful, and it's all easier said than done.
We love Oakland. And I want to stay in Oakland, and I want to continue to do the work we're doing. But we need change, and we need it now.
Audrey Sistio, NBC Bay Area News.
I don't know what they expect fucking the city to do.
Yeah, and I don't know what new policies have gone into place, right, that caused a murder, right, or a death, or violence. Oakland's a violent city. It has been for a very long time. It will continue to be. It's a city, and it's unfortunate, but that's what you get living in a city, and San Jose is slowly coming around to that fact. I think San Francisco gets it, but there's still too many tech bros and billionaires up in there claiming that it's just a hellhole on earth, right? And that's exactly what you got here. You got these bitty white folks from Rockridge. I saw mostly, shout out to the one black dude in front with the sign, who I didn't hear speak or say anything, but he seemed to be in league with them, but mostly older white folk who, are concerned about a lot of things. Frankly, I mean, these are the same kind of folks you see at neighborhood meetings about traffic or parking or housing or, any manner of civic engagement, right? They're there and they're upset about it because they, paid a lot of money to live in their neighborhood, and therefore they don't deserve to deal with the same shit that someone in a neighborhood on the other side of town has to deal with, right? Or a more shall we say, colorful area of town has to deal with. So it's same old to me, and it's poor Dan Cobb. I don't know if he's a very good council member or not. I couldn't tell you. But there's not much like you said. There's not much he can do, right? Even the police chief, like, what are you going to do about it? Well, I don't know. We're going to make sure that the person who did the crime, gets some sort of treatment and or punishment, right, for what they did. Like, that's the best thing we can do, is make sure we catch them, we put them on trial, and we convict them, and they get whatever is coming to them, right? Like, what else can we do, right?
Right. It's fucked up, and like the council people could never do this, but it'd be interesting if somebody just leveled with the people at these things and go, what do you think we should do?
Right. It's not as though Oakland is setting records for homicides, by the way, too. Like, they're actually from what I understand, on the down slope, and they have to be, because we're talking like hundreds, right, of murders on a regular basis.
Oakland was never one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. Like, when the crime was higher in Oakland, the crime was a lot higher in other cities.
Yeah. Compared to, like, seriously, like Dallas or Detroit, right?
St. Louis,
right, per capita especially. So again, it's not surprising, but it's kind of this attitude we're seeing right now out there, in a lot of more affluent communities, like, affluent / urban or / city communities, right? We shouldn't have to deal with this because we paid more to live here, and that's just BS. Like, you live in a city, get used to it. Right. You want to be near all this shit, right? All the shit that's in the city, right? And all this stuff in San Francisco and the whole Bay, right? You want to be here. So that's what you're paying for. And yeah, you have to deal with, crime.
There may just be, maybe not a natural, but there may just be some kind of ebb and flow to this stuff that cities like historically go through, and that, like, really, like, you can have better policy is better policy. We wouldn't do this show if we didn't think better city policy was better. But at some point, like, you just gotta kind of accept the way of the world. It's like I don't know what's the city government supposed to do? Like, outlaw crime? Oh, well, actually, we already did that.
We did that, right? This should be what this person did should be illegal to kill somebody. It is, but no, in fact, they really did the first thing right? Like, they all got together. Everyone came together in a room, the community, right? And but the next step was to just bitch out the people in charge, right, or the people that they elected, or the police chief, right, and not talk together about, like, what can we do as a community to come together and keep an eye on each other and watch have each other's backs and be our brothers and our sisters' keeper, right? No one's having that conversation, right? They're all just like, this woman got killed, and what are we going to do about it? And by the way, I don't know much about the victim. They haven't really talked much about them, but I guarantee you, like, if it was like a young black boy, right, this would not be making waves in this community, right? Like, they would
like, what was he doing in my neighborhood in the first?
Exactly. What was he doing in my fucking neighborhood?
What was he doing out late at night in the first place?
Why was he knocking on my door? Good God. I don't know this person. I'm going to, like, that actually happened. That actually happened recently. Someone got shot for knocking on the wrong fucking door. You got to be kidding me, right? So,
I don't like people coming to my door either, but I don't show up the door strapped. I just don't answer the fucking thing.
I ain't going to shoot him. So yeah, I think there's a lot of that here too, and that's the whole thing about, there's a whole to-do made about the disappearing or the disappeared white woman, right? But a black woman disappears and no one makes peep about it. I think same thing. I think the same principle applies here.
Remember when you were a kid and you went on a field trip and you had the buddy system? Like, what about the buddy system for adults? Like, I feel like if people are going to go in there and yell, you should just start treating them like they're on a field trip. Be like, listen, there's a couple things you can do. Don't walk around alone if you can avoid it. It's not your fault if you're the victim of a crime, but if there's three of you, you're probably not going to be the victim of the crime. And
right. So
to make some friends, more community engagement. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know the answer. I just assume that one of these, like, I haven't been the victim of a violent crime, but I assume that because I live in a city and I walk around late at night sometimes, I assume one of these days it's going to be my fucking turn. And that's just the fucking way of the world, man.
The only violent crime I've been victim to in San Jose was perpetrated by the police. 3 years ago, 2 days ago, by the way. But yeah, or 3 years ago this week, I guess. I think buddy system would be great. And I really hope that they told everyone that there were juice boxes and granola bars at the end of the meeting if they all stuck around.
But I mean, it sounds trite and like I'm making fun of it, but like there are statistically there are things you can do to reduce. Just make yourself. It just makes you a less enticing target. It's not that it's your fault if you're the enticing target. It's just like be the less enticing target. I don't know. Maybe that older woman had every right to walk down the fucking street, like to walk out of whatever shop she was at or whatever. Like don't get it twisted. And maybe she's a lonely old woman. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe her friend. I mean, you get to be a certain age, it's kind of hard to make new friends and shit, especially friends who want to go out late at night. So. Yeah, I don't know the answer, but like I'm not sure that yelling at your city council person is going to get a whole lot done.
No.
They're just going to think that they're probably going to think what I think about the people in Rockridge, right? That I think much the same thing I think about the people in Los Gatos.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, similar foothills.
They're just mad. Where's what's right above Rockridge? That real up in the hills there. I forget the name of the neighborhood up in the hills.
Claremont.
They're just mad that they're not in Claremont. That's what they're mostly pissed off about.
Oh my gosh! Well,
anyway,
more to come next time an old white lady gets killed in Rockridge.
They'll be screaming at the city council over shit that the city council really doesn't have much control over again soon. That's like that's actually become a more and more recurring theme around here. Tune in for Catterday tomorrow night, everybody. My God, the Shasta Board of Supervisors meeting was unfucking real. Anyway, what do we got for winners and losers?
Well, kicking off winners and losers because there are no winners usually. San Francisco, speaking of cities that are dealing with an overabundance of exaggeration of crime, they're also dealing with obviously the after effects of COVID and tourism dropping off. So for the first time in a long time, or if ever, San Francisco has had to engage in a marketing campaign to invite people back to San Francisco because it's typically a pretty popular city. So we're going to find out more about the $6 million they dropped on this shit.
Well, new for you this morning, just in time for summer. San Francisco leaders, they are thinking outside of the box here. This is to bring back much needed tourist dollars.
Yeah, see what you think about this. Today in the base, Chris Sanchez joins us with a look at an expensive new ad campaign and some of really the harder numbers that it's leaving out.
Yeah, so San Francisco tourism has been on the upswing, believe it or not. And this year, the city's travel association wants to do what it can to surpass the projection of nearly 24 million travel visitors that are expected this year. So here's a look at San Francisco's first ever TV ad.
Here I come, ready, hey, San Francisco. Right when I arrive, I really come alive.
I mean, it's a little bit catchy. My first thought was, where's the fog? Right? Where's the fog? We do see a lot of San Francisco's iconic neighborhoods and many of the things that San Francisco is famous for. The ad was released just yesterday, but already the response online, you guys, is pretty rough.
I bet it's classic.
Yeah, so people say it misses San Francisco's real charm. Others say that it fails to show San Francisco as it really is. That is, sometimes gritty and sometimes grimy. San Francisco is battling those headlines about stores shutting down in Union Square and other places, open air drug use and sales right outside the doors of City Hall, and daily social media videos of people showing the filth on the streets and the smash and grab robberies that a lot of us have fallen victim to. So we have those two sets of images, right? Which one tells the truth? Let's take a look at San Francisco PD's crime data comparing the first 5 months of this year with the same period last year. Overall, crime is actually down in San Francisco about 7%. There were 10% fewer burglaries, which is 255 fewer break-ins in 5 months' time. There was a 22% decrease in rape. But the crimes likely to make tourists think twice are up. There was a 25% increase in homicide, which is 4 more people who died by homicide. There was a 17% increase in robbery, so 157 more cases there, and a 6% increase in auto theft about 149 more cars and other vehicles stolen. So the ad is San Francisco's first ever TV commercial, and it is part of a $6 million campaign that folks will see in New York, Chicago, D.C., Boston, Houston, and some elements will also target international markets. They really are trying to get some of the folks who plan big events as well. So the campaign started yesterday.
Okay.
It's going to continue on through October, which we know is one of the nicest times to visit San Francisco, right? And the hope is to capitalize on the tourists coming now so that when the Super Bowl comes to the South Bay, San Francisco can get some of the festivities too.
Yeah.
That ad made me not want to go to San Francisco.
Yeah, right. Not super exciting. I mean, I see ads. If you watch an FTV, you do see ads for other cities, right, and locales, the sort of tourism videos, and none of them are pretty all that compelling, frankly. But that is the most glossed over version you will ever see of San Francisco. So I don't think that's the truth. Hashtag. I also don't think that hashtag, London breeds San Francisco falling apart at the seams with drugs and crime and crimes and drugs is the truth either. I think it is just somewhere in between, like we talk about a lot here on Downballot. It's a very down-ballot-y city.
So I don't think you get these like kind of big cultural, like you don't get one without the other. I just don't think it exists anywhere. You don't get this, like all these people that are there, there's going to be problems. You don't get these fucking parades and all this. You don't get these neighborhoods with all this history and all that stuff. You don't get it without the fucking grime of a city. You just don't. No. You can't have it.
You are correct. And we're going to get another example of the grime and the grit of the city in the next story. But,
oh my God. Yeah,
they should have to get over yourselves.
They should just run this as a commercial. This next thing that we're going to look at, be like, San Francisco, we're just as petty as you are.
This should be the ad. They're going to save themselves $6 million.
Apparently, there's a property line dispute of some kind, and it went bad. Like the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Yes.
Tonight, a land dispute in San Francisco turned violent. Watch this. At the heart of the controversy is no one is certain who owns this land. There's no agreement how it should be used. One thing we know, it's apparently worth fighting for. Here's NBC Bay Area's Terry McSweeney.
This is a fight over who controls a strip of land 1 block long near 22nd and Harrison Streets. A woman, Elizabeth Creeley, with Friends of Mission Greenway, knocks a bag of Cheetos away from Rudy Rucker of Monkey Brain's internet service, who had built a slab for his planters that she was tearing down. She starts taking video, and he knocks the camera out of her hand. The woman then uses that hand to punch Rucker in the face. What is this all about?
And you want to use this to load, unload, leave cars overnight?
Correct. Yes, we want to use this area as it's been
for parking
historically. And
that is Monkey Brain's internet service CEO Alex Menendez on the strip right behind his company's building. Mission Greenway has other ideas for the former Southern Pacific right-of-way. So do other nonprofits.
The obvious use for it would be open space, some kind of park or something like that.
A big part of the problem is no one knows exactly who owns this land. This strip, over the many years, has been divided into dozens of trusts across the country. Some people don't even know they own some of this. And I'm told the city of San Francisco has no legal option whatsoever in deciding what happens out here.
And then she kind of came up and gave me a body check, or she bounced into me. The four of them had their cameras out, and I knocked one of the camera out of their hand, and she came in and she gave me a punch right in the jaw.
Creeley tells me off camera she felt intimidated.
It's a great punch. Boom.
Back. This is all happening.
I think her hitting him was self-defense. He was considerably larger than her and coming towards her.
Very well landed, though.
But no one's taking her up.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with that lady.
San Francisco, Terry McSweeney, NBC Bay Area News.
Okay. So for something like this, there's got to be like a solution, because the one person, the person who said, "Hey, we could just like put a park here," I was like, "That sounds great. Why don't you just put a fucking park there?"
But because they can't figure out who actually owns the land, apparently, it's all tied up in, like they said, trusts and gobbledygook and estates and all sorts of shit. Because if it's an old Union Pacific or a rail line, the land ownership probably goes way the fuck back to like the 1800s. especially if it's in San Francisco. So yeah, they more than likely can't figure out who owns the land, and if you don't know who owns the land, then there really isn't much you can do. You can zone it for something, but the city, I don't even know if you can do eminent domain if you can't, because you have to make a reasonable offer. We don't even know
who we're eminent domaining this.
Yeah, because you have to make a reasonable offer to that's part of the process, is make a reasonable payment offer to the owner of the property.
I have an idea. We should put a fight club there.
No.
bring attention to the land
with plants.
With plants, yes, of course.
With some potted plants around the ring, right? For taste.
Park Mafia Jeff in chat says.
Well, maybe there are other reasons why people aren't coming to San Francisco, and it's not strictly because you might be one of those 4 extra people that got killed last year. But it could just be that, that you can't find, if you do kill somebody and do crimes, you can't find an attorney who'll take your case.
That could be the case. Let's check that out here. Here's more on the I'm going to call this I've called this the tech bro murder of 2023.
Today's court proceeding was supposed to be the start of a preliminary hearing for Nima Momeni. It's a chance for prosecutors to outline the evidence and a time for defense attorney Paula Canny to argue that prosecutors don't have enough evidence to send her client to trial. But none of that happened. Instead, she filed paperwork to withdraw from the case, and the judge granted that motion.
So I'm not his lawyer anymore. I don't represent Nima Momeni.
In her motion, Canny cited a conflict of interest with her client, but she says legally she cannot disclose what or when that conflict arose, telling us that could jeopardize her law license.
I still like being a lawyer. Happens.
Oh, I like her. She's like, she by the book, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Her not disclosing what the conflict of interest is probably by the book.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You shouldn't have to. No, no obligation.
Energetically, I have my way, clients have their way.
With Canny no longer representing him in court, Nima Momeni spoke more than he ever has in prior hearings. However, cameras were not allowed in today's proceeding. This is file video from earlier hearings. Momeni had an extended exchange with the judge today, trying to decide on timing of his next hearing with his new attorney. Momeni had previously demanded the preliminary hearing begin as soon as possible. Momeni is charged with murder in the stabbing death of Cash App co-founder Bob Lee last month. With Paula Canny now stepping aside in this high-profile case, the new attorney who's going to be taking over the defense of Nima Momeni is said to be Miami, Florida-based Sam Zangune. By phone, Zangune tells me Momeni's family reached out to him last week asking if he can take over the case. He agreed. Zangune, who says his clients include rappers and pro sports athletes, also says he's taken on some high-profile criminal cases. In 2019, he represented accused murder-for-hire gunman Sigfredo Garcia and was featured in Dateline NBC's coverage of that case.
The only person who can tell you that Sigfredo Garcia got out of the car and purportedly shot Dan Markel is who? The guy who got the deal of a lifetime.
Garcia was convicted of murdering Florida law professor Dan Markel and is serving a life sentence in Florida State Prison. Nima Momeni's next hearing, presumably with his new attorney, is set for June 13th. In San Francisco, Sergio Quintana, NBC Bay Area News.
Lawyer seems like the lawyer's going to make this whole thing about the lawyer. That's my take, just based on, and I don't know, maybe he's real good, but he was on Dateline NBC. I don't know. Maybe I'd like my murder trial to be a little more low key than that when I eventually just snap and kill some tech bro one day.
Producer Dave was just a normal guy from around the way. It was a normal day in San Jose. The birds were chirping, the sun was shining, and producer Dave was in a mood. Yeah. Well, yeah, good on the attorney for being prudent, and for also just being professional too. Good on her. She's been great this whole time. Actually, it's a tragedy. It sucks in general, but she's been a fun part of it. So I'm sad to see her go. So the future stories about that will not be as entertaining.
Yeah, she seemed good. She seemed like pretty matter of fact, and she was like, the idea that she can't tell you what the conflict of interest is totally makes sense, because maybe the conflict, maybe divulging that would be prejudicial towards someone somehow in some way. And she's like, I don't want to lose my law license, so I can't answer your question. Shit happens.
Right. Yeah, I mean, not much I can do about that. Exactly. I still got to get paid. I got to eat. Well, if you're terribly concerned about Rockridge and all the crimes there, maybe I don't want to watch out if you're bicycling through Berkeley, because shit happens there too.
And this is, I don't know. This is either going to be a funny story, or I'm going to be like, this is terrifying. We'll see. It could only go one of two ways.
We'll see. I don't know yet.
Weight of a fence. Tonight, two East Bay couples are recovering after they say a construction fence trapped them while they were out just for a bike ride.
They're demanding something be done so this doesn't happen to others. NBC Bay Area's Gia Vang is in Berkeley for us with this exclusive story.
It's a Berkeley bike path Jonathan Carey and Amy Schoenblum have taken plenty of times before, and again on Monday around noon with two friends of theirs.
You just don't imagine that this could happen to you, and it was over in a second.
Soon it turned into this, open wounds on the head. The Berkeley Fire Department called, and the only ride they were getting was to a hospital. Amy now has a broken arm and wrist, and she might need surgery. All because the fence they say was only standing on concrete blocks trapped them under when the bay winds likely toppled it.
My experience was horrifying because I thought it was just me and the woman, my friend, and I started calling to the men so that they knew to stop.
But even 50 or so yards ahead of them, Jonathan was under the metal too.
We happened to be like a tidal wave in the middle of the tidal wave as it started in one end and went to the other end within seconds.
People passing or driving by helped free the four. Caltrans says the fence was actually installed as a safety precaution while its contractor constructs the I-80 Gilman Street interchange project. A Caltrans spokesperson said they're currently working with the contractor, O.C. Jones, on the situation, who hired a subcontractor to install the fence. In a statement, the Department of Transportation said Caltrans and O.C. Jones are working together regarding the situation. The fence will be further reinforced by June 1st to protect the public. We reached out to O.C. Jones and the subcontractor number listed on the fence, but did not hear back. We did notice yellow ropes are now fashioned in different spots from a sign and a tree onto the fence. It's unclear when those appeared, but Jonathan and Amy said they weren't there Monday. They want safety for everyone, and that might mean taking the whole fence down.
Definitely, it shouldn't have happened, and our whole reason for making our story even public is because we don't want this to happen to anybody again.
What's next for the couple? Likely doctor's visits and, at least for Amy, rehab. Caltrans reps tell the couples that they could file a claim with the department. Gia Vang, NBC, Bay Area News.
You could file a claim with the department? Those people getting a lawyer. Those people aren't filing no fucking claim with the department.
Already have one, probably.
Right. Yeah, they struck me as people who have somebody on retainer, but that's terrifying. Actually, perfectly honest, that's terrifying. Like you're just riding then like this fence. It's not like one piece of fence fell down. The whole fucking thing. I don't know. Hundreds of yards, hundreds of meters of the fence fell down.
Yeah. One guy said it like a wave, right? It was sort of just you could see that in your mind's eye, right? The wind blowing it over and like a curl. Taking everyone out. Yeah, that is awful. And she looked like she got pretty banged up. So hey, they have a good case.
Good on the people driving by who stopped to help them, like and notice what was going on. Like
for sure. Good. I mean, there are enough of them out there. So good on them for helping out. I like that. We called out to the men, but the men were like gone. Oh wait, no, they were also crushed.
Right.
Damn man, always taken off. Well, speaking of like getting crushed by like rocks, well, this story kind of has to play for itself. It's just too much backstory to get into. So, but yeah, some rocks in Fremont are causing everyone headaches.
But in Fremont, the battle over these boulders right there has taken a turn for concern. The rocks were installed a couple of years ago to stop RVs from parking along the road area there, not far from the Tesla factory. But a recent fatal crash is sparking a discussion about safety. And as Jose Martinez reports, critics are worried the boulders may be causing more problems than they're actually solving.
Kelly Abreu, a Fremont resident and member of the Mission Peak Conservancy, says he's concerned and wants to warn others about these boulders on Cato Road.
The city is not listening to the motorists because this presents a danger to motorists.
The installation has stirred controversy since 2020, but especially now. On May 12th, a 57-year-old woman sustained severe injuries when her vehicle collided with the boulders. She died 6 days later.
The boulders were not intended to interact with the cars. They're intended to deter eradicate a homeless encampment. But the effect, especially on some of these sharp curves, is to put a dangerous obstacle right in front of the motorist. So the fact that the motorist drives straight into boulders and one of them died, that is a safety hazard that should have been foreseen and should have been, designed for.
Kelly tells me that most of those RVs that used to park here are now here on Stewart Avenue. You can see the number of vehicles parked along the road for miles and miles.
The rate of homelessness grew in Fremont over the last couple of years. Every 3 years they do a survey. The latest survey showed a huge jump in the homeless in across the Bay Area, but especially in Fremont. So the city doesn't have the resources to address this. But putting in boulders that are dangerous for motorists is certainly not the way to address this.
But the city tells me that the decision to install the boulders was based on ensuring the security and the well-being of people living in RVs. The limited space between Cato Road and I-880 is shared by a bike lane and experiences heavy traffic on both sides.
Jose reached out to Fremont police. They tell us alcohol was a factor in the crash last month, and the driver's cause of death is still under investigation.
Oh, the cause of death was crash.
Apparently, yeah. Regardless of whether or not they had alcohol in their system, definitely was that.
I mean, I guess better that the person runs into a boulder than somebody living in an RV. You're reducing the number of people impacted by this crash.
That's a positive way of looking at it, I would say. Yes.
I don't know why they got to be on the corners. You saw there were boulders in places where no one would park though, because there wasn't room.
Yeah, no, I remember actually because the good wife and I make the trek up Mission between 880 and 680 quite a bit, and so we've seen this site many times, enough to know that the Tesla factory is actually north of where they had that pin. That's more of the Tesla, I don't know if it's an R&D or if it's offices, whatever, corporate offices, but that's what that is there. But I just find it amusing also that the only landmark they bothered to point out was Tesla, right? Seagate has a space there where Solyndra used to be.
Seagate just sold that space, actually.
Oh, did they? Okay. Yeah. Well, regardless, the fact that they felt the need to point it out at all, right? Other than just this is the road, this is Mission, this is 880, the roads as the landmarks, they decided to, again, as we like to note, they like to single out Tesla for whatever reason. It's techy. And
I wonder if Elon put those boulders there himself.
Yeah, right. Possibly. Well, that was one thought we had, the good wife and I, when we first saw them go in. But the first thought, the very first thought we had was a dick move. It was rough because we'd seen the RVs and folks parked there and living there for many moons, and suddenly they weren't there and the boulders were, and we knew exactly what that was all about. So so shame on them for putting them in the first place. But maybe if that is the silver lining, that if this person was intoxicated, they didn't plow into another person, right, or someone's home.
Yeah, there are what, those why boulders? Aren't there other kinds of barriers available to public works that are not boulders?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if it was public works or if this is a private property strip that they just did this on. I think I don't know that the city had anything to do with it, honestly. It might just be what the property owners did. I did find it interesting that there's a bike lane right there, right? So there's another hazard for bicyclists in Fremont and the Bay Area in general.
Oh yeah, that's not great either for the cyclists. Now you're between now if somebody's driving not paying that much attention and you're a cyclist, now you're between a car and a boulder.
Right, a rock and a hard place, literally. So that's again one less safe space or one allegedly safe space, right? It's a bike lane, but it's not a very safe bike lane.
I don't imagine there's a whole lot of cycling traffic through there, but that actually makes it worse for the people who are cycling there, right?
Yeah,
places with less cycling traffic are scarier on a bike because people aren't used to it.
Yeah, of course. You're not expecting to see. So I would certainly not be expecting to see someone on a bike on that street if I was. It's a frontage road,
right.
And a lot of folks are going home or coming to or from work, right, commuting, and they're zoned out, right? They're not thinking about what they're doing.
And maybe the person on the bike is commuting and zoned out and tired.
Correct.
And,
everyone is. Yeah.
when I worked in North San Jose, the worst part of that commute was riding in North San Jose. It was literally the mile or so from the trail. I forget what trail that is. It's the one everybody says is terrifying through downtown San Jose. No, the terrifying part wasn't that trail.
Guadalupe River. Yeah, the Guadalupe River trail.
The terrifying part was not the Guadalupe River Trail and the fucking kids smoking weed and the fucking people living in tents. The terrifying part was the drivers not paying attention going down Brokaw Road. Like, so, yeah, like
absolutely.
So
I was one of them once.
Yeah, that's even worse for the cyclists there, because nobody's looking for them there, and people can ride that. That just looks like a bad solution to the problem. People in chat were like, couldn't they put up like some kind of plastic barriers with reflective fucking material on them so you see them at night? Like, because there's nothing less. There's not a whole lot less reflective than a rock,
right? Well, there's also all these business owners in the area. It's not like they don't have space in their enormous parking lots. That they could offer to folks to safely park their shit overnight, right? And have a shared space, because they're not fucking using the parking lots overnight, and they're certainly not using all the lots now that most people are doing the hybrid thing anyway, unless they're like a manufacturing company. So, I don't see why there couldn't have been another solution. Agree.
Well, I want to find out whose decision it was for the boulders, because that person can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, let's find out. If it seems like one of those things that like someone who didn't like us just doesn't like government, right? They would think the city did it, right? Or one of us cynics would think that the city must have done it. But I also just feel like it was the property owners for some reason. It just seems like one of those dick move kind of things. I don't think that a city would do that kind of that big of a dick move. They might clear the folks out, right? But they'd find some other like park, or like they said, a strip of open space, like another artful way to use the space, not just that.
Well,
okay.
We're going to move on to get your shit together, and San Francisco needs to get their shit together. We're not even going to introduce this clip. This is one of the big problems here with the Bay Area, though, is that billionaires think they can just solve all of our public problems by being their billionaire self. Here's an example of that from ABC 7 News.
Billionaires get a bad name in the Bay Area, but one is donating big money. We're talking $2 million this time to try to save downtown San Francisco. Joining us live now is Chris Larson, co-founder and executive chairman of the blockchain-based payments firm Ripple.
Chris, fuck this guy. Oh, this guy's a con artist. Fuck this guy.
I mean, look at him. He looks like a penis in a suit.
Great to be here.
You're a serial entrepreneur who invested in crypto. Your net worth is in the billions. You are on the Forbes list of the wealthiest individuals. We won't say where, because that changes all the time. Now, that's the financial intro, but how would you like to be introduced?
You did a good job.
I'm the exec chair of Ripple. We have a great team that's running the company day to day, and we're really proud of them. But I actually spend most of my time now on philanthropic efforts. Climate change is probably takes most of my time. But we're really focused on trying to
100%. This dude has the words effective altruism in his Twitter profile.
Francisco both recover and just improve from the fantastic place that it is. And it's actually a lot of fun to be doing that, because we have a lot of challenges, but they're all very fixable. And, we're really honored to be able to help where we can.
You have donated many rounds to causes in San Francisco. Why are you so committed to the city in particular?
Well, I was born here. This is where my parents met. Went to, SF State, paid $100 a semester when I went there. Bargain of the century. I know it's a little more expensive, still the bargain of the century. Mm-hmm. But we love this place, and absolutely convinced it's the best place.
So you're a billionaire created by government largesse. Go on.
It's the most innovative place, the most accepting place, always has been, always will be. And, this is where we want to be.
Yeah, best place on the planet, going through some challenges currently. And I know you're trying to make an impact there, right? So let's talk about your latest commitment, the $2 million. I understand it will go to about 50 organizations to improve retail, but in different ways. Talk about that.
Yeah, so, we obviously noted that during the pandemic, small businesses probably suffered the most. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge category of San Franciscans and our work. I think it's 100,000 people work in small businesses, and they really got hurt. So we try to find ways to help that. and kind of stumbled across something I didn't realize, but there's actually 34 merchant districts in San Francisco. It's really a huge community. And what's powerful about that?
He's like, I gave money to Tiffany and Co.
It's a very diverse city. It's got so many interesting things that, even being here my whole life, I didn't realize. And these merchant districts, they know exactly what they need in their neighborhoods and in their mini downtowns to help improve things. So the idea here was simply empowering them with resources, but let them decide what they needed. Was that lighting? Was that signage? Was that safety, cleanliness? Whatever it might be, we find that sort of hyper-local approach is going to get the best bang for the buck.
Union Square has gotten a lot of attention.
Did he donate in Bitcoin?
With some of the anchor stores leaving, Nordstrom, on Market Street, and also Mission District has gotten some attention. But talk about where you think the need is greatest. Which shopping districts are you most focused on?
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you a little, maybe more of a complicated answer on that one, because I do believe we do have to protect Union Square. It's not just sort of a pretty place to buy, handbags, right?
It is kind of that.
It's the lifeblood of, kind of the tourist industry. It is a huge driver of revenue.
That's the pier.
Supports homeless services and you name it, right? So we do have to protect that. The head of that, and I'll just give a little plug to Marissa Rodriguez, who runs the Union Square Association. They need all the help they can get. So we do have to protect that really as a lifeblood of the city. That said, though, we've got these incredible merchant districts all over the city: Hayes Valley, Fisherman's Wharf, Balboa Street, Glen Park. It is really a diverse, rich, gem that we've got.
He named all the rich places but the Castro.
And I tell you, those small businesses, they just, they're so vulnerable, and they have been so strong through this unprecedented, multiple years of setbacks and challenges with public safety, you name it. And they're hanging in there. So we really got to be proud of them. So again, kind of anything I think we can do to help them is really important. And by the way, one of the things we're trying to do with this effort is encourage other businesses, leaders, people that have resources to contribute there. I think it's one of the best channels because it's super efficient. They know what to do, and they make the most of the resources that they get. So we love this channel of going right to the small business districts.
I know previously you had given money.
Wait, why is ABC7 running an ad for this guy's fucking philanthropy organization?
Maybe he made a donation to their organization. Who knows?
It's possible. This is just a commercial for this guy.
Oh, 100%. Someone sent them a release or something, and their producers want to make nice with a billionaire. Wouldn't you? Right? Everyone wants to be friends with a billionaire.
Jeff in the chat was saying this kind of reminds, and in a way, yeah, that's like, you've probably never seen it. We run it sometimes. So Scientology TV will run these things about how they're investing in the community. And this has big, Voices for Humanity vibes. This is like we've sent people to the community to stop the biker gangs, and it's like, dude, this guy's like giving money to business, probably to business associations.
Yes, no, and he's giving lip service to all of the diverse or allegedly diverse. I mean, like you said, he didn't really list the diverse ones, but diversity of neighborhoods of business associations throughout the city. But he started out by saying we absolutely have to invest a lot of money in Union Square because it's the lifeblood, it's the heartbeat of the city, right? It's not just where you can get your Bulgari watches and your handbags and your Tiffany jewels.
But that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. And that's why it's a lifeblood of the city, because there's a lot of fucking revenue coming through there for sure.
That's why when even to this day, if family or family friends come from out of town, my parents know they don't know what's going on in the city, and they're like, "Hey, Dave, we're going to take you to the city, but you're going to show us this. You're going to show us around." And then, so we don't go to no Union Square unless the person coming wants to see Union Square. But then we go there, and they're like, "Oh, this is a mall."
Yeah, outdoors with a park in the middle of it. Yeah, no, it's and a big old hotel. Yeah, no, that's pretty much what's going on here. It's just making nice with money.
You know where it's cool to take people though is Golden Gate Park.
For sure.
Especially if they've never seen Golden Gate Park. Very cool place to take people. And then right there's the hate. Show people taquerias, and take people to the Castro. And I don't like the wharf, but yeah, you take people to Fisherman's Wharf and get them a bread bowl with some shitty clam chowder in it. you could totally avoid downtown, right? You could totally avoid what we call downtown San Francisco and do a better job of showing people the city. If family friends have people in their crowd who are younger, the older folks leave and the younger ones will stay and go to South of Market. Right. Go party a little bit. Go get drinks. Go to a club. Like this guy's idea of what San Francisco is fucking warped. He wants to turn San Francisco into San Jose.
Seems like it. But he says he wants to make sure that the people at the ground level, they know what to do with the money. So just making the investment there is the way to go. I'm not going to be prescriptive or mansplain, but we really need to invest in Union Square.
I bet they gave no money to Soma.
Yeah. Oh God. I didn't hear anything about Potrero Hill or
the hate.
The hate.
Although the hate's like a rich people place now.
Sure, Bay Point, the third Street.
Oh yeah. If you go down
Sunset.
that 3rd Street line, ain't none of those neighborhood associations getting a dime of this billionaire's money.
Yeah,
maybe right there by the ballpark, but that's on this side.
If you get down to like the Bayview, like the Warriors, where the new arena is, right? The Children's Hospital, maybe a few blocks around that, but after that, it gets pretty gnarly, pretty quick once it stops being gentrified.
As you talked about lighting, and I know these different groups that you gave money to do different things. But security and safety aside, are there efforts through some of these grants to make it fun, to bring back events and things that will really draw people?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's actually most of what these projects are, because that's what the needs are, right? So lighting, for example, it turns out just stringing some lights in maybe a dark alley in one of these districts or in the main shopping area, it brightens things up. It looks festive. It actually improves safety. People love it.
That's not an event, though.
Expensive to do that. So we love that.
God, I would not want to go to this guy's event.
Some of these districts, they just are putting up signage, wayfinding signage to show, hey, here's where you can get a cup of coffee. Here's where there's a great art store.
What about the club? Where the club at?
I like the visual. They're just scrolling through the website.
Like, where the fucking punk band playing, dude? These people, come on, where's the Cat Roba Show event? Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Where's a coffee shop? Fuck you, there's a coffee shop on every corner in San Francisco. That's probably the problem.
Right.
More Street. That will improve this year's efforts there. And just even art walks. We have a lot of shut down shops in some of these districts. Well, you can fill those with sort of pop-up art installations, and then you have these art walks. So several of the programs.
This is all basic.
That's a great way.
He's like, I saw this on the internet.
This is all live, laugh, lively neighborhood shit. Like
new innovative ways of engaging with these neighborhoods.
Do you feel like your efforts are being met with the full support of city government, whether it's the mayor, the supervisors, other agencies, police department? It kind of takes all those stakeholders, right?
Yeah, it does for the many problems we obviously have to address. The cool thing about this Avenue Greenlight is it's super non-political, right? So everybody loves it, right?
It's super non-political.
Board of Soups loves it. The mayor loves it. The police love it. So this one's really fun. When you're
throwing money around, fucking people love you.
Right, but he's like throwing, like Chat was saying, he's throwing like 40 grand around to a few neighborhood associations. Like that's
right.
Like, that's why he's talking about stringing up lights in an alley, because you're not really going to do a lot with 40 grand, right?
Right. Even $2 million total. Like, you could be kidding me, right? Billionaire. How many times over did they say? Like, right. $2 million. Like, good on you.
Yeah, Chat's like, well, hear me out. What if you just pay your fucking taxes and let the city deal with this, you dumb fuck?
Right. The Chat with the win. Perfect. Exactly. Oh my goodness.
People.
He's all recreate, peasants.
How you're doing it.
Yeah.
But this is just sort of pure joy and goodness, and we
exhibit yourself.
Well, let me just ask you. Tech and tech wealth have been blamed for some of the problems, maybe even a lot of the problems that the city is going through, right? Driving up housing costs, traffic, indirectly creating homelessness, only to now abandon.
No, directly creating homelessness.
Downtown a ghost town. That's one of the narratives. Do you agree that there's some responsibility there?
There is responsibility for sure, because prices have gone up. So I think businesses do have to step up. But I think clearly a lot of the kind of blame first of all, we spend too much time blaming each other in this city. We got to work on more solutions. But I think one of the problems has been with tech is they just haven't even engaged, right? It's sort of like, okay, I love the city. This is awesome. But, all this vitriol, I'm just going to stand back. We can't do that anymore. We have to engage, even if it gets, unpleasant sometimes. The business community, the tech community has to be there and being part of these solutions, the public safety and growth and criminal justice.
50-50 now, 70-30. This was one of the guys when the Cash App founder was murdered. This is one of the guys probably tweeting about that shit, right? 80-20. This guy was tweeting all about how it was like the homeless, and turned out it was just as is very commonly the case with a violent crime. It was somebody he knew.
Or more likely he was retweeting Elon.
You name it, right? We've got to be there. The good news is I see more and more of that. I think the community now is stepping up, and that's a positive.
Yeah, from the reporting standpoint, I see more and more of that recently as well. And you just answered my last question about what do you encourage other tech leaders to do. So, Chris Larson, thank you so much. Really appreciate
Chris Larson.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for the 8-minute advertisement.
He's like,
oh my.
He's like, here's a nickel. Go to the casino, peasant. Here's a handful of quarters. Go play some pinball, young man.
Here's a free beverage. Keep playing.
Oh
keep
my
spinning.
God.
Keep spinning.
He's like, we need signs to the coffee shop. I just can't fucking believe. You don't need a sign to the coffee shop.
Right. You should follow your fucking nose if they're doing it right.
Just walk anywhere.
Right. Sniff for the coffee. Well, hopefully, he'll be able to get San Francisco's shit together, because obviously they need.
Like when she was like, "Oh, is this going to go to events?" And he's like, "We're going to string some lights up in an alley." Right. It's like, okay, dude.
Are you facing any blowback? Well, this is super non-political. I mean,
right? Like,
you're just giving money out, obviously.
What if the people in the neighborhood actually like that alley is dark because there's nowhere to take a fucking piss? So you just go stand behind a dumpster, you take a piss there. Now this dude's lighting that shit up. So now I guess people are going to see your wang, and now you've committed a sex crime. Like, this guy's lighting scheme is going to increase sex crime in San Francisco. I like
Pretty Safe. You're always thinking of unintended consequences, and that's what I like about you.
And the other thing, he's like, these storefronts that nobody's like leasing, we can just put a pop-up art gallery in there. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The landlord's gonna be like, oh yeah, pop-up art gallery. Oh yeah,
totally.
Great.
People just coming through drinking wine and touching my walls. Great,
great, fantastic.
Super excited.
Excellent. Oh, I'm on the hook for all the liability, and there's no one leasing the space. Sign me up for that, tech bro. Thank you. I'm so fucking. This is the worst story. I didn't think I was going to be this mad at this story, but this is I can't believe this isn't happening in San Jose. That's how mad I am at this story.
It kind of is. We'll get to that in a few stories, but Mayor Ed 209 is pretty much like that guy, only he's the mayor. But first, the real mayor of the Mission is speaking out about the need for more affordable housing.
Fuck yeah, the mayor of the Mission.
Let's go down ballot.
People living and working in San Francisco's Mission neighborhood also feeling the impacts too.
Yeah, but as John Ramos shows us, the Mission has something downtown does not.
It's become known as the Doom Loop, an economic spiral for a San Francisco downtown that never really recovered from the pandemic. The Mission District has its problems as well, but it has something the downtown doesn't: people. The people who populate the city's iconic Latinx neighborhood don't have the option of working remotely. They live in the area, or at least try to, and most survive on little more than their own ingenuity and hard work.
Just see people who have nothing, not even Social Security card, yet wake up and make money to live, So I think those people could use a little bit of compassion and a little bit of help.
And that's where
But where's they don't have their own tech billionaire?
By many as the mayor of the Mission, Hernandez sees how his community is hurting after the pandemic.
Even the dollar bargain stores have shut down.
But rather than give up on the area, He approaches the problem with the typical resolve of a people who are used to having to do things themselves.
The city has no plan to help our neighborhood, and so we've created our own plan.
A coalition of neighborhood activists, including the Native American population, has developed a comprehensive plan called the Village SF. The idea is to create affordable housing complexes over marketplaces, or mercados, where individuals can rent inexpensive spaces to operate small businesses. Hernandez points to this empty lot as an example.
And so here's an opportunity for us to buy this land and build housing and build a mercado. So like this family here that has a fruit stand, imagine her being inside with her little space, and we could have hundreds of different people in here.
The plan envisions 2,300 new units of housing on currently unused properties with an option of home ownership. It also calls for a new residential treatment facility for indigenous people, and there would be a multi-story wellness and community center on this lot next to the existing Friendship House for Native Americans. Mary Travis Allen, a lifelong American Indian activist, says it's about reestablishing natural balance to a neighborhood choked by concrete.
Here, I want to show you something. Look at the plant breaking up through the concrete. We are here. Our life source is always here. We just need to get rid of this concrete so we can live and they can live.
But this isn't just some feel-good concept. Hernandez traveled to Washington, D.C. to promote the project as part of President Biden's so-called Justice 40 initiative, in which 40% of the infrastructure budget would be spent in underserved communities.
I mean, how much are you asking for? Are you shooting big?
Yeah, we're asking for $3 billion with the
give this man $3 billion
dollars to be able to do this work, and we believe we can get it. We're the first ones that came up with a comprehensive plan for a community.
It's not a surprise to Hernandez that they've been on their own to develop the plan. He says the city has always focused on attracting newcomers rather than investing in the people who have been here all along.
Let's build office for accountants, let's build office for law firms, and then it was the .com and then the tech, right? Well, all that is collapsed, but we're still here. And if the city would invest it in its communities, its natives, we would not be where we're at today. San Francisco would be thriving, and we would not have a vacant downtown.
It's a bold plan that focuses on the neediest rather than the most powerful.
We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something revolutionary, changing the way we think, the way we live, and most important is giving hope to our children and our youth for the future.
Can it happen? Who knows? But if it requires people who aren't afraid of hard work, they've come to the right place.
And San Francisco is home to 18,000 Native people. They reportedly have the highest level of unemployment, the lowest level of home ownership, and are 17 times more likely to be unhoused.
So we've lost the councilman. I think it's probably internet issues. I say what's fucked up is that those two stories were kind of like in stark contrast, if you ask me. The tech bro, that crypto guy, kind of a piece of shit, I think. And then the dude they were showing us, the mayor of the Mission, seemed pretty cool. And I hope he gets his $3 billion. I don't know if, I don't know what his, like if he'll, I don't know if he's going to be able to accomplish his goals, but fucking, it seems like I like the mayor of the Mission a lot more than I like the tech bro. So we're going to move on to the next story here. Seems like we're on a significant delay here, Councilman. We got this next story. We got Chesa Boudin, got a new job at UC Berkeley, and apparently he has a hypothesis of some sort. We'll see what the local news has to say about that.
The internationally renowned Berkeley Law School has a new hire, a man who recently made national headlines. I want to do the deep thinking and the rigorous analysis to help elevate the conversation in the public square.
The former San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin, who was recalled last year, now named as the executive director of the new Criminal Law and Justice Center at UC Berkeley. The university says the center will be a research and advocacy hub to boost Berkeley Law's work around criminal justice.
I may have hypotheses about what evidence or data will show, but we've got to do the work to see if it bears out. And if it doesn't, we need to make adjustments in the policies we're implementing because our safety is paramount.
Perceptions about safety were at the forefront of the Boudin recall effort. He was elected San Francisco DA on a campaign of policing and public safety reforms. He was recalled in 2022, just 2.5 years into his 4-year term. His critics slammed him for being soft on crime, saying his progressive reforms were too lenient, making San Francisco less safe. That sometimes harsh criticism won't deter him from what's ahead.
We've got to continue to do work that's informed by science and by evidence. We've got to continue to be principled, even in the face of often, public discourse that's hostile, that's disrespectful, and that is trying to move us backwards to failed policies.
Boudin believes support for progressive policies continues to grow. He says never say never, but for now, he's not interested in re-election.
One of the reasons I decided not to run for re-election was because I was frustrated with the extent to which public policy making is devoid of often facts, evidence, even short-term memory.
Boudin says his new path is one that still allows him to stay committed to criminal justice reform and coming up with data-driven solutions to public safety challenges.
We can debate, which policies are better and which feel better to us, but we've got to do the work, and that's what I'm excited about here at Berkeley Law, to be able to dig in and actually look at big picture data over time, between counties, across states, and analyze.
At UC Berkeley, Ansan Hassan, ABC 7 News.
Good to see Chesa landed on his feet.
Yeah, very much so. Are you keeping me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I know. Very good to see that, and glad to see that he's wised up and realized that you can always do just as much, if not more, from outside the system or from outside of government than inside.
Well, I would argue that maybe UC Berkeley kind of inside the system still.
Yeah, that's true. Well, at least pseudo or what's the word? Quasi.
But yes. Being in academia and trying to work on this stuff is he's going to probably do a little bit better there because he's not like under the thumb of a bunch of people who are going to demand like immediate like results specific to their personal desires in society. Correct. And that's an unreasonable thing for people to demand, especially from a district attorney. It's kind of a shame what happened to him because he was like definitely going the right way, but
he faced the wrath of the same people in that Rockridge story that we led off with tonight.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're in San Jose too. We'll have that on the next down ballot actually. So
yeah. Speaking of San Jose, what do we got next?
Yeah. Before we close it out, we can't go a week without talking about how Mayor Ed 209 thinks homeless people are icky. So he got together with some students who also think they're icky to talk about how they want to get rid of the icky together. Yeah, so
fantastic.
But somehow he tries to look magnanimous. I don't know how that's possible, but anyway, let's roll it.
Mayor Matt Mahan told me tonight he wants law enforcement to visit the school to determine what needs to be done to make it safer. At the same time, he told me he wants to remove the unhoused from the area by providing them housing and services.
We appreciate your attendance.
San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan one-on-one with students of Charter-equipped San Jose Collegiate in East San Jose to hear their concerns.
I saw your coverage of Alfredo and his classmates who are organizing to do something about the RVs and the encampments in the neighborhood and the negative impact it's having on the school.
Last month, we told you about the homeless encampments next to the school, trespassers on campus, and needles found on lunch tables. Mayor Mahan says he has a plan to address safety on campus that includes installing security cameras.
I think a next step would be to have our new police captain for this district come visit campus, maybe meet with the students as well, meet with the administration, and just get an assessment of what exactly is going on and figure out what the department can do to help and how we can support.
He says a short-term solution to the unhoused population outside the school is to bring the homeless outreach team to the area.
Longer term, I believe that the single most important thing we can do is scale up basic, safe housing, these quick build or interim housing communities.
For Alberto Hernandez, an 11th grader who has been pushing for this since January, says hard work is finally paying off.
All very grateful that the mayor was able to take time out of his day to, speak to, the youth here in the East Side community and, speak to the constituents in order to, learn more about the experiences that the students here are facing.
KIPP Public Schools of Northern California sent a statement that says in part, "We know that a safe campus and community requires comprehensive coordination to ensure the well-being of all of our neighbors, including the unhoused community. We're committed to working with the district and the city of San Jose towards a resolution." In San Jose, I'm Yomara Lopez, NBC, Bay Area News.
He keeps talking about this temporary housing, but I mean, it ain't gonna happen.
Well, he's tried to make it happen by, initiating a major shift in funding from the city that's meant to go towards permanent affordable housing through a ballot measure. But he would now rather have it devoted strictly to shelters and emergency shelters and, interim housing, strictly to get people off the streets. There's no intention of, moving them on or getting them into permanent housing or getting them off the streets entirely or preventing them from becoming homeless again in the future. It's really just about cleaning up the streets as quickly as possible so that, everyone who feels icky about seeing all of the folks who are living on our streets, our neighbors, our friends, our fellow residents, they can feel better about themselves, right? And they'll feel better about going out in downtown or in their local business district to enjoy commerce and spend their money, right? Similar to San Francisco with the tech bro and his cleanup effort, right? It's all in the same vein, and that's entirely what Ed 209 wants for San Jose. Just wants a nice, clean, vibrant city, which means let's sweep all the icky homeless people under the rug. Let's cover up everything we can, clean it up best we can, spruce it up real nice, and people will come. But that's not really, like we've said, embracing what a city is all about. It's not really getting to the reality of the situation, and meeting with a bunch of charter school kids isn't necessarily going to solve anything. Especially when their school apparently wasn't on board with the meeting. It seemed like they were caught kind of off guard by this.
Well, that's we're getting to the end here, but we have another thing. I can't believe what I'm reading on the fucking screen right here, honestly.
Yeah, this is pretty awful. We do like to focus on animal interest, and sometimes it's sad. So it's sort of a crossover story with some other things we've been covering on Downballot. But let's learn more about what happened here.
If you couldn't tell by these adorable videos, 1-year-old Himalayan sheepdog poodle mix Pockets is a pooch with a love for the outdoors.
I live in the area, and we frequently come here.
During a trip to Fort Mason Thursday, what Pockets found on the ground was the beginning of a terrifying and eye-opening experience for owner Jackie.
I noticed she went and was eating something, so I ran over to see what she was eating, and unfortunately, it was poop.
Nothing necessarily uncommon for dogs, but what happened several hours later was
probably about 8 o'clock, and she was like wobbling, and she was like, her tail was down. She something was definitely wrong with her.
Documents from emergency care showed Pockets had symptoms from marijuana intoxication, and there were opioids in her system. Frightening enough on its own, but something else was alarming.
Essentially, the doctor on that night told me that this was relatively common, and she sees it a few times a week.
Dog owners we spoke with were understandably shocked at the news.
That's horrible. That's my worst nightmare.
And say it'll be hard to prevent their pets from eating things on the ground.
I don't know how anybody could prevent this.
Luckily, Pockets didn't ingest enough to need Narcan and is back to her old stick-chewing, playful self. A healthcare professional told me Jackie did everything right, and had the dosage been bigger, Pockets could have suffered kidney or liver damage. Jackie says she'll keep an even closer watch on her pet from now on and hopes her story will encourage others to do the same.
There's so many people with dogs who probably don't know that this is a threat to their dogs, so I wanted to share it just to spread awareness and to make sure people are really careful and can look out for the symptoms of this.
Okay, first of all, I'm highly skeptical of this story. The cannabis part especially, I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, like I've never heard of that in humans or in dogs for that matter. I don't know what's going on here exactly.
I don't know enough to like really say, but I color me incredibly skeptical. But also, like chat was like bathrooms. But this is a park.
Yeah.
Why does somebody have to shit in the fucking field at a park? Shouldn't there be a bathroom at a park? It's a
fort. It's not even a park. It's a fort. Fort Mason. They have like food trucks and shit out there. Don't they have bathrooms or porta potties or something?
Right. Like again, and not just for like, it's not like let's give the dope fiends a fucking bathroom. No, what if that lady had to go to the bathroom?
Sure. Absolutely. It's for the public.
It's called the public.
Shit.
There should be fucking public restrooms. And sometimes public restrooms aren't always the cleanest, but it's better than no public restroom. My God.
Give the people what they want.
And what they want is a place to take a dump or pee.
And a good latte.
And a good latte, which you could find anywhere. You actually don't need signage for that.
I could make one. I think I will make one right now, actually.
All right. Well, I guess that's been our show. It's been fucking infuriating as usual.
You're welcome.
Here's a nickel, peasants. Go put some lights in the alleyway so people aren't afraid of your neighborhood anymore. And don't let your dog eat the fentanyl poop. I don't know what else to say. You want to read the show out, Councilman?
For sure. Thank you so much for joining us as always. We do Down Ballot every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, except when we don't. Stay tuned for Conspiracy Bingo with producer Dave and all sorts of madness. And make sure you download your bingo cards right away. Of course, make sure you get vaccinated. Wear a mask if it's appropriate. Pants are optional, especially at Costco. No one cares there. And this is Audible Smoke. We will see you and hear you and love you next week.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage, waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand, ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later, we're all singing Queen. I get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink. Spark it if you got it and then pass it to me, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside? I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rockin' me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jockin' me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Molly say that he like jamming, and he hoping
Can't get enough Echoplex and want to keep the conversation going with the hosts and community when we're not live? Then join our Discord server at discord.me/Echoplex. We have text channels, voice channels, meme repositories, and a whole section of screenshots that we don't even remember where they came from. Come join the Now Space on Discord at discord.me/Echoplex.